Hi, my lovelies. How are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. Today, I would like to share my story of how I've been able to maintain the same body weight for more than a decade, for at least 12 years. And in fact, I actually weigh almost 3 kg less than what I weighed 12 years ago in 2012. So my weight currently fluctuates between 54 and 55 kg. Back then in 2012, I weighed 57 kg and I weighed that for a couple of years until I think 2020. 2020 was when my weight went down to about 54 kg and it's been a struggle to get it back up to 57. But I think it's fine. I'm fine where I am. I think my target for a while was 55, and I'm more on 55 than 54. So if I'm 54, maybe 54.6, 54.5, 54.8, which is really 55. So I think I'm in a good place. But if it goes back up to 57, that is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. So I'd like to share my journey. I know some of you might be saying, and I hear this all the time, how can a full-blown adult be weighing 50 something kg? Are you okay? Is everything okay? I am okay. I am not underweight. I am okay. My body weight is appropriate to my body size. There's nothing wrong with my weight. It is just fine. The main gist of this video is not to talk about my weight, but to share with you how I've been able to maintain the same weight for more than 10 years and to help somebody who might be on a journey, a weight loss journey, or just trying to figure out the science around losing weight or keeping your weight steady. Okay, quick story. I love stories. In 2012, when my fitness journey started, like I had shared in a previous video, please watch my video on the 3 hacks I've discovered to staying consistent in my fitness journey. Check out that video. It gives you a lot of insight into my why I started this journey, why I've been consistent, all of the change, how my fitness journey has evolved. So please make sure to watch that video. So back in 2012, I got into fitness from what I like to call a vanity point of view. I didn't want to add weight. I didn't want to be bigger than what I weighed at the time. And I knew that even as far back as then that I needed to be intentional about what I did from then on to ensure that I don't get bigger than the size I was then, because I always felt that I would be depressed. Maybe not depressed, depressed is extreme, but I would be really sad if I was big. And so for me to prevent that from happening, I needed to take action then. So I started going for walks regularly in my neighborhood. And walk for me is more of brisk walk. I walk very fast on a normal level. Not that I'm trying to exercise, just walking on a normal day is very fast. In fact, my 17-year-old boy, who is like my son, in fact, there was a time recently that we were out together. And he was like, "You walk very fast. Like, I feel like you reduced a bit because you felt I wasn't catching up with you, but you had already gone far before you came back." And, I was like, "Yes, so I walk very fast. I don't know how to walk slow." And he now referenced my dad to say there was a day he and my dad were coming back from church and my dad was walking very fast and passed the junction to our house before he slowed down and realized, because the church is very close to the house, so most times they go by, they don't drive to church. So I laughed and I said, "Yes, my dad actually walks very fast. In fact, I think between me and my dad, we need to check who walks faster." So I definitely got that from my dad. So I started going for walks, started running, started jogging in my neighborhood. And I got so used to it to the point that if I have not gone out, and beside working, I was doing some exercises at home, I'll just try different things. Then I wasn't really into fitness the way I was. So it was just like, just trying to do things that I thought were what exercise should be. And if for whatever reason I didn't exercise for a couple of days, my body would feel heavy, that after a while I will need to get up, put on my running shoes, and leave the house to go for a jog or a run or whatever, because my body felt heavy and out of sorts. So that's a start. Then secondly, aside from being active and having and building exercise into my routine, I also understood at that time, and nobody was teaching me these things. In fact, I don't even know how it just came to me, but I knew that I also needed to watch what I was eating. So my food I needed to be sure that the things I was eating was the things that will ensure that I maintain the same weight and I don't put on additional weight. So then I was making sure that I was eating more vegetables. So cooking food with more vegetables. I had known by then that white rice was not good, was not the best quality of carbs. You know, it's white carbs. So I reduced the amount of rice I ate, or the frequency at which I ate rice. And I would do more vegetables. I would do more sweet potatoes. I learned to make sweet potato porridge because I don't really like yam. Yam porridge is like a staple in Nigeria, which is my home country, but I'm not a fan of yam. You would never, let me not use never. I always say never say never. But you will not find me buying yam for myself. If I ever bought yam, it was for somebody else. So potatoes, sweet potatoes especially, I love. So I learned to, instead of making and eating yam porridge, to make sweet potato porridge. And it's so, so, so delicious. So I would make that. I would make my own stew, different from what was made at home. I was making my food differently, even though I was living with my parents at the time. But I was making my food differently and putting it in the freezer. And that thing used to annoy my mom. She would say, this is not right. You don't do this. You don't live in the same house with people and be cooking differently and be eating differently. But like I told her, I don't like what you people are eating. It's not that the food is bad. It's just not. I was intentional. And yes, I did mention I also love beans. I ate a lot of beans as well. Beans is a very good source of carbs, better quality carbs than rice. So, like I was telling her, there was nothing wrong with the food. Maybe they ate a lot of rice, or maybe the way they cook the stew, I don't really like it, or like, and they maybe they don't cook it vegetables as often as I want them to. So that was what I kept on explaining to her, but she would just never, she could not understand it. And she was like, no, you're causing division in the house. This is not how things are done. Nowhere is it done that people who live in the house are cooking different foods. I still stood my ground, my ground, and I still cooked. She didn't find it funny, but yeah, I was living with them at the time. I hadn't started living by myself. So, but I needed to do what was best for me. I think after a while, she just stopped hounding me. It never really went away, but she reduced the frequency at least at which she complained. So that was that. Then I have a high metabolism. My metabolism is very high, and I'm quite active. I have so much energy and I expend so much energy. Even how I talk, I use a lot of energy. How I walk, I use a lot of energy. Everything I do with so much passion and energy. So like I expend a lot of energy. So most of the food that I eat, I actually burn. And I'm lucky because I know that not everybody is lucky to have a high metabolism and still maintain it at 40, right? I'm 41 and my metabolism is still as high as it was as far back as 10 years ago, right? If I do not eat adequately in a day and I push it to 2 days, I'm going to lose at least 1 kg. That's how bad it is. So I need to eat well because I expend energy well. I'm very active in the gym. I burn a lot of calories. I need to eat enough, and most time the calories I take are already burned, so I don't even add anything. That's why if I don't eat enough, I lose weight, because the calories I'm taking is less than what I'm burning. And that brings me to talk about what is calorie deficit, what is calorie surplus. We talk about this a lot. What does this even mean? So calorie deficit means that the food you are eating is less than what you are burning. So if the quantity of food, for example, if you eat maybe 500 kg of food, I'm just using an example, right? And you burn 1,000 calories of fat, or when you go to the gym and you burn 1,000 calories, it means that you've already burned that 500 calories of food you've eaten, and then the calorie that is stored as energy in your body, because you know that when we have excess carbohydrates in our body, the body will use the carbs that it needs, and the excess one is stored as fat. So it takes away that 500 kg and then goes into the one that has been stopped out in the energy to take the calorie needed to burn. And you know, by the time you remove it, you have lost, that's reduction in your weight. That's what it means to be in calorie deficit. Calorie neutral means that the calorie you take is equal to the calorie you burn. So for example, if I take in 500 kg of calorie and I burn 500 kg is a lot, but I started with that example, it should be 500 grams, but it's fine. And I burn 500 kg of calories. Exactly what I took in is what I'm burning. So the weight that I have remains the same. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm sure I am. Okay. Then calorie surplus is when the calories you are burning is less than the calories you are eating, you are putting into your body. When you are eating more quantity than your body is burning, that is calorie surplus. So I will use the same example. If the food you ate for the day is 500 grams worth of calories, and you work out, or by means of the activity during the day, or even working out in the gym or at home, you burn only 200 grams of calories, right? Assuming that that extra calorie you're taking, the body doesn't use that and everything as energy and stores as fats. The extra 300 grams is going to be stored as extra fat in the body if the body doesn't need it as energy. So you're going to put on weight. Am I making sense? I hope I am. Yeah. So that's what it means. That's what we mean when we say calorie surplus versus calorie deficit. If you're hearing calorie deficit, calorie surplus, I hope I've been able to demystify it for you. So, yeah, basically how I've maintained my weight over the years was being intentional about the food I ate. And now when I talk about the food I eat, let me explain. So I do a lot more of. So before I even get into what I eat, we have different classes of food, and it is recommended that your plate of food contains food from the different classes of food. They all have different functions or benefits for the body. Carbohydrates are a source of energy for the body, for everything we do on a day-to-day basis, to walk, to talk, to do anything, you need energy. Carbohydrates supply that energy, right? Protein is the building blocks of nutrition. Protein is essential for your body to repair your body, especially if you do a lot of strength training exercises or you want to get into strength training. Your body needs protein to be able to. When you do strength training, you contract your muscles. By the time they cause like little tears in the muscle. That's how your muscle is able to build strength, because you are pushing it beyond what you will normally do. To repair, for those muscles to repair, and by so doing, increase your muscle mass and build your muscle strength, protein is required. Protein helps the muscle to repair itself. And protein is essential for the body. It's the building blocks of nutrition. So very key. The third one is fat and oil. So I know fat is bad. Fat, you hear there's a negative connotation with fat. There are good fats that the body needs and requires. So good fats like your avocados, like your nut oil or your nuts, your cashew nuts, your peanuts, all of those things are also classified under this fats and oil, right? Then you also have good fats that come from dairy products as well, like your yogurt and your milk. Those are also good fats. Then what else am I missing? Then you have your vegetables, which provides a lot of vitamins and nutrients. And this one is keys, vegetables, and then your fruits, which also provides a lot of vitamins and nutrients. It's key that your food every day contains, like you need to have at least 2 to 3 servings of fruits every day and have vegetables on your plate. So what I'm trying to say, why I called all of this out, is that when your plate of food at every point in time must contain food from all of these sources. So there must be carbohydrates on your plate. There must be protein on your plate. There must be fats, good source of good fats and oil on your plate. There must be vegetables on your plate, and then you must have fruits in a day. I don't encourage you to eat fruits at the same time with food. So take your smoothie of fruits at least 30 minutes to an hour before you eat, or afterwards, or in between meals. But you must have fruits every day. And then when we now look at this different, protein is protein, all these other ones. But when we talk about carbohydrates, even though they're essential and they provide energy for us, carbohydrates are not built equally. We have what we call complex carbs, and then we have what we call simple carbs. It is recommended and advisable that you eat more of complex carbs and take out or reduce drastically the amount of times or the frequency at least at which you consume your white carbs. Or even if you are consuming white carbs, reduce the quantity, reduce it and make up for other food sources of food, classes of food, like your protein, your vegetables, fats and oil and other things, right? So reduce, if you eat a lot of white bread, that's white carbs. I stopped eating white bread. I don't even really eat bread, but when I do, I eat whole wheat bread. And your white rice is also another one that I eat. I don't eat a lot of, I eat white rice, but I reduce the frequency at which I eat it. Or if I eat it, on that plate, I'm having a lot more of other things. And interestingly, white rice doesn't keep me full at all. If I eat white rice alone, I don't get full. Like, as soon as I'm, it's funny because as soon as I finish eating that food, I am hungry. I need to eat again. That's to tell you that white carbs, they don't supply enough energy to sustain us for a long period of time. So if I want to eat rice, I have to ensure that I have an adequate, good quantity of protein on that plate. And then I have my vegetables. I have I always have my fruits in the morning or later in the day or as snacks. I have my vegetables, or a lot of times I eat my rice with beans. Beans is also a carb, but it's a complex carb and it has a bit of protein, right? But beans, as well as other types of complex carbs, keeps you fuller for longer. And so when I combine the two, that keeps me full for a long time, right? But if I eat only rice alone, literally, I think I went out one time. I think it was my friend's birthday. I can't remember. They gave me food. It was rice. I just finished eating that food. I'm like, guys, I'm still hungry. I think I ate swallow afterwards to be full. They were looking at me like, this girl, didn't you just eat? Rice alone doesn't work for me. And so that's why you see a lot of people have to eat a lot more quantity of rice to be full, because little quantity doesn't do anything. And because the way white carbs work is that they spike your blood sugar, they supply you energy at a very fast rate, and they spike your blood sugar. That's why those with diabetes is advised that they either take out white carbs from their diet entirely, or they reduce it to the barest minimum, because white carbs spike your blood sugar. So they give it, the white carbs releases energy into your body very fast, so it spikes it. And then after a while, it crashes and you find that you're hungry again, which makes sense in my case. Why, if I eat predominantly rice, I'm hungry again afterwards, right? So I do more of beans. I do more of potatoes. I love sweet potatoes a lot. I do Irish potatoes, but less frequently than sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are my staple. In fact, because I don't like to peel sweet potatoes, because when it's not cooked, it's quite difficult to cut and slice. I usually wait till the day that I have help around me in my house, and I capitalize on it. So I would just buy a lot of sweet potatoes and hand it over to the person to help me to peel and wash, and then I pack them in Ziploc bags and I put them in my freezer so that it's easier for me to cook and prepare when I'm ready, whether I want to boil it or whether I want to roast it or whether I want to make porridge with it. Yeah, so I found that hack and it's been working for me for a while now. So in my freezer right now, I have a full Ziploc bag of sweet potatoes. And that reminds me, I need to make my sweet potato porridge tomorrow. So then beans is another one. I always have raw beans in my house, and I always have cooked beans. So I have cooked beans now in my fridge and my freezer. I love beans. In fact, my beans is so delicious. The people that have tasted it have testified of it. I really love beans and plantain. And for my beans, I have to eat real plantain. But I can manage if I'm eating it with rice, maybe white rice and stew, or jollof or fried rice. But if I'm eating it alone, I enjoy it best with plantain. And obviously in that plate, there has to be like chicken or goat meat or fish. I don't like beef. So, yep. And then I love avocados. Avocado is a superfood. I'm always having avocados. I love avocado and egg with my toast on days that I eat bread. And even without that, I just love to eat avocado into rice. I can eat it on its own. I don't even have to. And then I incorporate it into my smoothie. So one of the smoothies I really love is avocado, banana, and cucumber smoothie. Ooh, is the thing that I can compare to ice cream right now, since I can't have ice cream again. I have a video that talks about why I stayed away from sugar. So you may want to watch that video. It's on my channel. Look for it, watch it. There's a lot of insight you can take from it. And yeah, so creamy, so yummy. Just find the combination that works for you. If you want it a bit sweet, you put a little bit or more of the bananas, but ultimately it's so yummy. And then yeah, so I always have peanuts in my house. I used to have cashew nuts a lot, but when the price of cashew nuts went up in Nigeria, I had to reduce I had to do an either or. So even almonds, I still have some almonds because I tend to buy things in bulk. I use it um in my when I'm making my homemade granola. But when I'm not, my girl who is the CEO of Dio's Delight makes amazing granola and Dio's Delight granolas, different types, whether it's chocolate or mixed fruits or mixed nuts. So I can have that. But when I'm making my own, because I like to combine a lot of things and I also include chia seeds in my granolas, I include almonds. I used to include almonds and cashew nut, but now I'm having to do an either or because the costs are getting real, right? And yeah. And then what else? Oats. Yes, oats is another great source of, it's a good source of complex carb, and oats is very high in fact, all the complex carbs are high in fiber. And what does fiber do? Fiber keeps you full for longer, which makes sense why these foods don't get you hungry until after a long time. You don't get hungry rather after eating the foods until after a long time. In fact, anytime I eat beans, I eat less in a day. I think I eat only 2 times that day. And that second time, a lot of times, is just because I feel like I've not had enough calories for the day. But it keeps me full for a long time. And oats, I don't like oats porridge, but I still get my oats in different ways, incorporate my oats into my diet in different ways. I obviously granola, the main ingredient is oats. Then I also make my staple oats banana muffins. I also make banana bread, but with oats. I don't do flour at all. I also cut it out. White flour is part of white carbs, so I cut that out from my diet as well. And yeah, so even snacks like your snacks made with white flour and all, I have reduced that to a drastically. I hardly eat it. Once in a while, I still succumb to temptation and I buy, and immediately I eat, I feel so guilty. I'm like, why did you buy this thing? Why did you eat it? But that's like once in a blue moon, maybe once. In fact, in 3 or 4 months, I might not have had, probably haven't had any. And what do I even eat? Maybe chicken pie or meat pie. But as soon as I eat those things, I'm like, okay, but you shouldn't have eaten it. Like I've eaten it, but it's not like it's not going down well because I feel so bad about it, right? Because it's made with white flour. So I've learned to make some snacks that are tasty to curb because I told you I have a sweet tooth. So I've learned to make banana bread. And the last experiment I did was banana and carrot bread with oats and carrots and banana, some other things, and my oat banana muffin. I have tried to make oat cookies before. I don't think I've gotten the consistency that I want. I will try again another time. I tried like 2 or 3 times. I think I've lost interest, but I will try again sometime in the near future. And yeah, what else? What else do I want to share? Vegetables like my spinach and cabbage. When I discovered that cabbage is a superfood and also helps with women's health and balancing of hormones, I have learned to fall in love with it. I mean, I used to eat it before as part of a vegetable salad or coleslaw, but I won't go out of my way to go and buy cabbage. These days, now I go out of my way to buy cabbage. I try to make sure I always have cabbage in my house. So I buy it, I shred it, and I keep it in the fridge, and I use it, in fact, within a week or less than a week, depending on the quantity of cabbage I buy. And because I live by myself mostly, so I don't consume things as fast as households with multiple people living in it. So I eat my cabbage with everything. When I'm frying my egg, I include cabbage. When I'm eating beans, whilst I'm dishing, not preparing the beans, I add some cabbage into my food. With rice, I add it. I think the only thing I've not eaten cabbage with is probably maybe sweet potato porridge. But if I was just eating roasted potatoes and maybe some sauce or whatever, I would include that. I've also made some cabbage sauce as well, stir-fried cabbage to eat with plantain or potatoes, or yeah, my staple foods are usually boiled plantain with vegetable sauce with spinach, or sweet potatoes, boiled sweet potatoes with the same vegetable sauce or spinach. What else? Sweet potato porridge, roasted potatoes if I want to do that, but I rarely do that because it takes a longer time. What else? There's this Irish potato with chicken. What will I call it? It's a porridge. It's the way I make it with bell peppers that I do. It's been a long time I did it. I should do it again. Um, I should do it again sometime soon. I really like it when I do it. It's when I make it rather. It's yummy. And what else? Beans and plantain, beans with any other thing, and obviously protein. There's always some sort of source of protein in that food, whether it's fish, chicken, or goat meat. I love goat meat. Yeah, and then I eat my swallows as well, but I don't even eat a lot because my stomach is small. Yes, and one thing I also wanted to mention is that you can train your stomach. Our stomachs are elastic. They can contract and they can expand. The more food you eat, the more food you eat beyond what you need, the more your stomach expands. The less food you give yourself, the more your stomach contracts. So it really isn't rocket science with diet, to be honest. If you want to lose weight, eat less food than what you burn. If you want to add weight, genuinely there are people who want to add weight, eat more food than you burn. If you want to maintain your weight, eat the same quantity of food that you burn. In terms of calories, that's it. That really is it, pretty much. But I also understand that there are other factors, especially when it comes to women's health and women who are struggling with hormonal issues like PCOS and other things, that outside of nutrition, there are other things that might be responsible for the fluctuation might be responsible for the fluctuation in their body weight. So I empathize with them, and I am mindful of that. That's why I always tend to put this caveat in it, because I've been lucky that I'm not struggling with any of those issues, or that I'm not one to easily put on weight, or that I'm very lucky to have a high metabolism. Doesn't mean that I do not recognize the fact that there are people who struggle with these things, or do not find it as easy as I do. And so yeah, that's the reality that I recognize, and I do empathize with everyone who is struggling with this. But on a more general basis, it's really what you eat is a function. Your weight is usually is directly impacted by your foods. Yeah. Apart from foods, then there is a place of exercise. How can I forget this? Exercise, fitness. So I gave you a brief, I took you down memory lane when I started with the exercise. However, I've evolved over the last 10 to 12 years in becoming more intentional about exercising, registering at the gym, having a weekly routine that incorporates exercise at least 4 to 5 times a week, or between 3 to 5 times a week, but I try to stay around 4 times a week. And I also even have evolved. So when I started working out, or I registered at the gym, I was concentrating more on cardio exercises, aerobic exercises. So dance, cardio, spinning, all of those things that improves my cardiovascular health. But I didn't appreciate or didn't even understand what strength training is until a few years ago, right? But I know that there was a time, it's probably in 2013, either 2013, maybe 2014, thereabout, that I realized that my upper body was weak. Like I would do all the exercises, my legs from my waist down was, yeah, I didn't have any issue. But my upper body was weak. And how did I know that? When I'm carrying groceries, I go to the market, like I could feel like I was struggling, like it was difficult for me. And that's when I spoke to a fitness trainer in my gym to say, I want to strengthen my upper body. And I remember then that he would give me some exercises to try to strengthen the upper body, um, use some weights, and shout out to, I can't even remember my trainer's name again. He was the one person who taught me about your form when you're doing strength training. Since then, even in my current gym, and even I have never, even when I wanted to get back into strength training, I got a fitness trainer, and even the other trainers I see, they don't pay. It's not that they don't, they probably talk about it, but they are not as intentional as that gym trainer way back in 2014 was. He was always particular about your form, my form when I was lifting weights, how you need to chest out, how you need to ensure that you are not in you are not putting yourself in an unusual posture that might end up hurting you. And so that has stuck in my brain all those years that even when I go back into it, even without the trainer I was using then telling me what to do or being mindful or being conscious or intentional about it, I knew that I had to. I knew what I needed to do. I did not need to wait for him to tell me what to do. So much so that even today, I'm the one that would be looking out for other people. And along the way, I've even learned some other things that I needed to do better. And fitness is a journey, and every day you keep learning. You keep learning new things, you keep correcting, you learn, you unlearn, you relearn. And it's a lifelong journey. And that's life. We continue to learn. As long as you're alive, you're learning new things every day. So, yes, so I got into strength training again in 2021, sometime in 2021. When I was much settled, when I came back into the country, I was away for 1 year, living in another country for work. So after I came back, got my house, settled in, then I enrolled in a gym. And then after a couple of months, I started understanding the importance of strength training. Now, not from I want to build my upper body, but beyond that, I also wanted to strengthen my upper body because it was the weakest part of my body. But I also now started understanding the importance of strength training to what is going on inside of my body, the fact that it's strengthening my muscles, is reducing the rate at which I'm losing muscle mass. It's helping to increase my bone density and ensure that I am not feeble as I get older. So that was the main reason why I got into strength training. And since then, I have not looked back. And it's been an amazing journey for me. And all of these things together has helped me to maintain my body weight and even gotten to a lower body weight than I was 12 years ago. One thing I should also mention is that even if you don't have a natural high metabolism like I do, exercise, cardio, and even strength training exercises helps to increase your metabolism. And I'm sure that it has also kept mine constant over the years, because the older we get, the lower our metabolism becomes. But the more exercise you do, the more you are active, the more you incorporate strength training into your exercise routine, it increases your metabolism. Because what happens is that after you do strength training exercises, your body is still, you're your metabolism is still continues for a couple of even hours after that exercise. You're done with the exercise. So that's a great way for you to increase your metabolism if you find that naturally you have a lower metabolism. And if you find that you tend to add weight easily, even if it's a small quantity of food that you eat, consider incorporating strength training into your exercise routine or taking up fitness in general if it is not yet part of your lifestyle. I really hope that my story will inspire somebody in whatever ways that inspires you. I hope you're able to take one or two nuggets from it, but I just thought to share. My journey is different from your journey. No two persons' journeys are the same, but we can take learnings from each other to improve our own personal journey and our story. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. Thank you for watching and do have a great day. Bye.